This case passed away yesterday on July 6th of 2025. Her name is, last name of Higelk, H-I-G-H-E-L-K, first name of Doris, D-O-R-I-S, middle of Sue Melissa, S-E-U-M-E-L-I-S-S-A, and she's a 39-year-old Sioux Falls resident. Excuse me. An autopsy is scheduled for the victim today in this case, which could result in potential enhanced charges. If you recall, there was a press release put out last week for charges for Jubal Rattler, who's currently in jail on aggravated assault charges with a $100,000 cash-only bond, a reference to this case initially. He is also on parole for aggravated assault as well. So more information potentially come later this week as far as that case goes. So any questions on that one?
You mentioned like more enhanced charges. Can you touch on like those specifically? What could
that remains to be seen. The autopsy results will tell us what the next steps are in this case, if any. But there is the potential for, since he is in jail on aggravated assault charges, that those could change or enhanced charges could come pending the results of that autopsy. Anything else? Okay. The next one we didn't touch on in briefing last week because this happened actually after, I guess it would be more during the day on July 3rd. There was an aggravated assault report from the 600 block on North Lewis on July 3rd of 25 at 6:34 in the morning. This call initially started off as an intoxicated subject call in which officers were sent to this apartment to look for an intoxicated subject that was refusing to leave the apartment. When the officers got on scene, they did see a male victim laying on the floor inside the apartment that was unconscious and had visible injuries to the officers. He was taken to a local hospital and then died of his injuries on July 5th of 2025. His name is last name of Marshall, M-A-R-S-H-A-L-L, first name of Daniel, and middle of Joseph, common spelling for both, and he is a 36-year-old Sioux Falls resident. An autopsy is scheduled for Mr. Marshall later this week as well. The investigation by officers and detectives found that there was some type of assault that occurred inside that apartment, which resulted in the injuries that the victim eventually died from. This investigation also resulted in a suspect being identified, and he was taken into custody during the evening hours of July 3rd, 25, for aggravated assault charges as well. His last name is Roubideux, R-O-U-B-I-D-E-A-U-X, first name is Sean, S-H-A-W-N, and middle of Raphael, R-A-P-H-A-E-L, and he's a 44-year-old Sioux Falls resident. Currently in custody in the jail for aggravated assault charges with no bond at this point. Similar to the case I mentioned before, enhanced charges are possible in this case as well, pending the results of the autopsy for Mr. Marshall later this week. Any questions on that?
Can you expand on some sort of assault happened in the apartment?
Yeah, there's a number of folks present in the apartment, so I don't have the complete details of everything at this point. There was some indication that Mr. Roubideux was involved in the assault of Mr. Marshall, which led to the charges that he's facing right now.
Is it like a house party?
I don't think there's any. The people that were in the apartment are known to each other. They all know each other. I don't know if there's a party. There's nothing listed like that as far as a party taking place. So.
Do you know like what kind of, if there were any like weapons that were used in the assault, or what kinds if there were?
I don't see any mention of weapons. But again, the autopsy results will probably tell us a little bit more about what exact injuries he had too. Okay. We'll go through the log from this weekend as well. Aggravated assaults, our reports, no arrests. There was one where a victim or somebody was threatened with a shotgun, but we did not find a victim on scene. Somebody was threatened with a tire iron on a different call as well. There's nobody arrested for that. Burglaries are all reports. Disorderly conducts are reports as well. Embezzlements are vehicle embezzlements. Family offenses or domestics and protection order violations. Frauds or identity thefts. Larcenies, nothing concentrated to any specific area. Narcotics, nothing with weight. The rape was a report. The robbery I'll touch on real quick. That is a incident that started as a shoplifting at a business near the 5200 block of West 60th Street North. This happened on July 4th at around looks like 9:14 p.m. In this case, male and female suspect were attempting to shoplift a cartload of items and were confronted by loss prevention folks at the business. Eventually, an altercation took place between the male and female suspect and two loss prevention individuals, in which one of the individuals was struck with a cane that was carried by the male suspect in this case, or excuse me, the female suspect in this case. Eventually, the two suspects did exit with a minor amount of the property that they attempted to shoplift, and then were located later in the evening, or actually the next morning at about 1:15 on July 5th. Both subjects were taken into custody for robbery charges. The first one I'll give you a last name of Honomichl, Honomichl, first name of Jeremy, Jeremy, and middle of Michael. And he is a 48-year-old Sioux Falls resident. Let me get the charges for each here real quick. Honomichl was lodged for 2 counts of robbery. The female that was with him, our suspect in this case, last name of Redwater, Redwater, first name spelling Kyanne, the middle of Rashaunty, 23-year-old Sioux Falls resident. And her charges are two counts of robbery as well.
No charges for hitting with the cane.
I think that's for the robbery it comes about, that they struck
Okay.
part of the threat, and yeah, looks like that was all they were charged with though.
Do you know exactly what they were trying to shoplift?
Let me see here. It did say there was a shopping cart full of goods.
Okay.
The male subject had struck a phone out of the hand of one of the loss prevention persons after they told him they're going to call the police. Let's see if there's any other information here. They had a vehicle description, so they're able to track it down that way.
And maybe you mentioned it, but where were they found and brought into
Yeah, let's see
custody?
real quick. Just to clarify too, it looks like that the male had punched one of the, oh no, that's the wrong part here, sorry. She hit the male with the cane 2 times before leaving. Let me see if I can find where they were located at here. They're near 10th in Minnesota. The rest of the stuff in the log, there's nothing of note. Well, you guys are all done with that, I assume. Yeah, the robbery. No other questions?
Was there anything on this, was accessory, harbor, or conceal for Sage Quinn?
Double check here. I'll have to do some digging into that one further to see. Yeah. Back to the log, nothing suspicious for the unattended deaths or anything else on there, so. Any other questions?
Can I go back to the 8th Street
Yeah,
bridge?
yep, we can.
How far was the fall from where she was pushed off of? Do you know?
I don't have the exact measurements on that. I mean, if you look at the area, and then you were out there, I believe, that day, I mean, so it's a couple, 3 feet, I suppose, 3 or 4 feet. I don't want to assume, I guess, but that's what, just from seeing the area in the past, that's what I assume the fall would be, but I don't have the exact details on what the fall was.
And she was pushed off of the retaining wall or the bridge itself?
So she was on the wall and pushed down to the bike trail area. Yeah. Not towards the river, the other way.
Okay. That's all I had.
Okay. Any other questions?
With the 4th of July this last weekend, do you have any information on calls surrounding fireworks, or just, talk about what the weekend was like for you guys?
Yeah, it was a very busy weekend as far as call numbers go for fireworks. Having a chance to pull some of the historical data in the last couple days before the 4th, from previous years, the calls were around that 300, 350 mark. Looking at now from July 1st to the end of the day yesterday, we had 409 fireworks calls. Actually, the numbers show that we had more calls on the 5th than the 4th. I assume weather had something to do with that. As we talked earlier, if it was a nice day, could have been a higher number with it being on a Friday, but with the rain that came on Friday night, it must have made the calls a little bit less than normal as far as that goes. Usually you don't see more calls on the day after the 4th. Usually the 4th is a busy day. But the 5th was this time, with 199 fireworks calls on the 5th.
Were there any citations or anything? I don't know. I guess I'm not for sure how that works, but were there any
I did not see any citations or written as far as the calls at this point. So, anything else? All right. Thank you. Have a good day.